Dear students, welcome to our online classes. I am Ravi Kumar KR, lecturer in computer science, gsipucmysuru College, MYSURU. Students, in our previous session, we were discussing about iterative construct. Today, we will continue our session with one more iterative construct, that is for construct. That is for construct. It is an iterative construct. Here, the for construct is unconditional construct. Unconditional construct. The meaning of unconditional construct is that here the number of iterations are known in advance. So here the programmer or the user will be knowing the number of iterations in this program. And here this again a iterative statement used to repeat set of statements until some condition is satisfied. For construct, it is used to repeat a set of statements until some condition is satisfied, and the loop continues as long as the condition is true. Suppose if the condition fails, it will come out of this for construct. Now let us learn the for construct with syntax, flowchart and example. General form or syntax of construct will be like this. This is for is a reserved word, starts with reserved word, and here expression 1 semicolon, expression 2 semicolon, and expression 3 close the bracket, then open this bracket here. Here we can have statement or statements. Here you can have more than one statements here. Then I am closing this bracket. So this is a general syntax of for construct. Here for is a reserved word, open the bracket, expression 1 semicolon, expression 2 semicolon, expression 3, you have to close the bracket and no semicolon here. Then open this flower bracket, and here you can have statement or statements, means you can have more than one statement or n number of statements within this a pair of brackets. So this is syntax. Here expression 1, it stands for initialization. Expression 2 is a condition. And expression 3 in the syntax is increment or decrement statement. In this example, expression 1 stands for initialization, it is nothing but starting value, and here expression 2, it is a final value or a condition, so that the loop will continue or a repeat set of statement as long as the condition is true. And here of expression 3 stands for either increment or decrement statement here. So this is the general syntax of for construct. Now let us see the flowchart of the same. For control value equals initial value to final value, and this is a symbol to represent repetition of statements. And after this we have statement 1 semicolon statement 2 semicolon dot 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 statement n this is control value this is a flowchart to represent for construct. Here is the for control value is control variable. It we have to repeat the statement from initial value to final value. Here CV here a control value or control variable IV is initial value and FE stands for final value, and here this from initial value to final value the set of statements will be repeated as long as the condition is true. In this syntax, in the flowchart, CV stands for control variable, IV stands for initial value and FE stands for final value. So this is the syntax and flowchart of for construct. I repeat once again, this is for construct is used to repeat number of statements as long as the condition is true. In the syntax, expression 1 stands for initial value, expression 2 is condition or the final value, and increment or decrement, that is expression 3 here. So here the loop will continue as long as the condition is true. Suppose once the condition fails, it will come out of this for loop and it goes to next line or next statement or immediately after for construct or for loop. Now let us see the example for the same. Now let us write a program construct to print numbers from 1 to 5. To print numbers from 1 to 5 by using for construct. Here I am using a variable int I. This is a control variable. It is also called as loop control variable. Here I am assigning value to this I equal to 1. So this is expression 1. This is expression 1 semicolon expression 2 here. This is condition. So I want to print as long as the condition is true and the final value is 5. I can write here I less than or equals to 5 and semicolon. Then immediately after this expression 3 is either increment or decrement statement. Here I want to print from 1 to 5. Obviously it is increment. I can write here I plus plus and open this bracket. Here I want to print the value of I. Directly I can write here print I. Value of I here. I am closing this bracket here. So this is a simple example to print numbers from 1 to 5. Okay, let us see how it executes the statements in for construct. At the beginning, i's value is equal to 1. So it checks for the condition. 1 is less than or equal to 5. So condition is true. It enters this construct or the loop. Accordingly, it print the value of I. Here value of I is 1. It print value is 1. Next one is because of the increment statement, it increase the value of variable I by plus 1. So I value becomes 2 here. Now 2 less than or equal to 5 is true. Enters the loop. Print value of I. It is 2. It is 2. Similarly, it enters the again increment here. I value become 3. 3 less than 5. It print the value 3. Increment by 1. It's become 4. 4 less than or equal to 5. Condition is true. It enters this. It prints value 4. After printing the value of 4, increment by 1, I value become 5 here. 5 less than or equal to 5, condition is true. It enters the loop and print the value of I as 5. After that, I value becomes 6. So here 6 less than or equal to 5, condition fails. So it will not enter the loop, it will come out of the loop. So it will stop printing at 5. So this is a simple construct to print numbers from 1 to 5 using for construct. Now let us write a construct to print even numbers from 2 to 10. Even numbers from 2 to 10. 2 to 10. Here start the construct for here int I value let us starts with 2 because I want to print from 2 I2 and condition is I value less than or equal to 10. So here I want to stop exactly at 10. So condition is I less than or equal to 10 and here now here I want to print even numbers. How do we get even numbers? First I have to print 2, then by adding 2 we will get here 4, then by adding 2 we will get 6, plus 2 is 8, plus 2 is 10. If you look at this example here, there is a constant increment in the value by plus 2. So here the increment should be I equals to I plus 2. I equals to I plus 2. The meaning is that value of I will be incremented by plus 2 at every iteration. So after this, open the bracket here. Now I have to print the value, print I and semicolon, close this. Now if you look at the example here, at the beginning I value is 2, 2 is less than 10, it enters the loop, it print I, it print the value as 2. Next, after printing this, increment the value by plus 2. So 2 plus 2 is 4. 4 here, 4 less than 10, it is true, it prints 4. Increment by 2. Similarly, it continue to print up to the final value as 10. After printing the value 10 here, it increment the value of I by 2, that is plus 2, it becomes 12. So I value is 12, 12 is less than or equal to 10, condition fails or it is false. So it will not enter the loop, it will come out of the loop. So this is a construct to print numbers from even numbers from 2 to 10. Now let us see one more example, the sum of natural numbers from 1 to 50. To find the sum of first 50 natural numbers. The meaning of the question is, we are supposed to add the numbers from 1, 2, 3 up to 50. So this is natural number from 1 to 50. We have to add this. It is some 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4. Keep on adding this up to plus 50. Then we have to print the sum of these numbers. We'll start with, at the beginning, let us assume one variable sum. Let it be 0 at the beginning. Sum is 0. Now we are using for loop. For here I can write here variable, loop control variable I is equals to 1 because I want to add numbers from 1 to 50. Starting value is 1, initialization, semicolon, condition is I less than or equal to 50, nothing but the final value. Then here it is increment by 1 because after 1, 2, 2 plus 1, 3, 3 plus 1, 4, up to 50, it is increment the value by plus 1. In between this, we have to write sum equals sum plus I, sum plus variable I. I am closing this loop here And after this we can write here print sum. Print sum. Now let me explain how it works. So here at the beginning sum equal to 0, I value is 1. So I value is 1, 1 less than 50. It is going to add 1 to variable sum. For example, at the beginning sum will be 0. Sum is 0. Then we are adding 1 to it. It is sum equals to sum plus I. It is 0 plus 1, that is equals to 1. Next, increment by 1, it becomes 2 here, 2 less than 50, again adding this. So here it is 1 plus 2 equals to 3. 1 plus 2, next increment by 3, it keeps on adding the value of variable to sum. So this loop is continuing as long as the condition is true. Means it is going to keep on adding like this up to 50. After adding 50, once the value becomes 51, it is 51 less than 50, condition fails, it will come out of the loop. So at the end of this loop, some value will be stored in the variable sum. So it is going to print, after executing this, it print the value sum. So this is a program construct to print the sum of first 50 natural numbers. Students, now let us see what are the characteristics of a good program. Now, at this stage, you know what is a program. It is nothing but set of sequence instructions, and these instructions are written in any of the computer language. So here, now in previous session, already we had discussed about how do we analyze an algorithm, isn't it? So there we had come across, one is the best case, average case, and the worst case. See, based on some factors, we can analyze the algorithm as best, average, and worst algorithm. Similarly, suppose if you want to say any program, computer program is a good program, it must have few characteristics. So here we can write here, a good program is the one, which takes less memory in computer, and next point is it take less time to execute program statements and modification. So program should be easy to modify or change as per programmer or as per the user requirement, and it should be portable. The meaning of portable is, so it should work in different platform or different location. Students, see, we can say any computer program is good by considering these 4 points. Here, you know what is a program now, and all of you know that it occupies some space in the computer memory, and also know that it takes time for execution. Similarly, any program which takes less space in the computer memory, and means that program, it should not be very lengthy program. And next point is less time to execute. And if you want, If the program is too lengthy, obviously it takes more time for execution. So our program should be in such a way that it should occupy a less memory in the computer, and once the size of the program is less, it takes less time for execution. Modification. Any program should be modified as per the user requirement. If you are using any of the computer software, for example, I take example like in medical shop. In medical shop, they'll be using one application software. So once after few days or after a few months, the customers or the user, he want to add few more additional field to his program, or sometimes he may want to take out few unnecessary fields in the program. He has to contact the programmer, so that the programmer must be in a position, or our program should be developed in such a way that, and it should easy for the programmer to modify as per the user's requirement. So here, that is one of the good quality of a good program. Portable. So portable in the sense, our program, a computer program, must work in all different platform or different location. For example, suppose you are using one particular software in one computer. If you want to change the computer, or maybe after some time you want to upgrade your computer for higher configuration, in that case the same program must work in that environment or with a new upgraded system. So that is called portable. Similarly, platform in the sense, maybe different operating system or maybe different location. If you want to execute same program, or if you want to work with the same software or the program in different computer at different place, so in that case your program should support these things. So that is portable. So by considering these factors, we can say a program is good. Next we will see the life cycle of a computerized problem solving method. Now let us write one by one. First we have started with problem analysis. Here this is the first stage where we have started analyzing the problem. So what is analyzing the problem is nothing but what is the type of input, what is the type of output, and what is the formula and everything. So this is problem analysis or defining the problem. Next step involving is designing. Under this we have algorithm, flow chart, etc. So this is a designing part. First one is your problem analysis, then next step is designing, next one is coding, nothing but programming. We have to write a program in any of the computer language. After coding, we have to test our program or debug our program for errors. So this is the next step. So once the program has been written, we have to check for errors. Once the program is error free, we have to test the program with different values. After this, we have documentation. Next we have documentation section. So we have here the programmer will make his own comments for his use, and also as well as for the benefits of the user. Next, documentation. Next we have implementation. Next is implementation. After implementation, program maintenance. So this is, now if we connect this, see this is nothing but a life cycle of problem solving over computer. So this is life cycle of problem solving over computers. So this is what I have discussed in the beginning of the chapter. We have to analyze the program, next we have to design the program, next is coding. After coding, check for errors, debugging, test the program with different values. Then you have to maintain the documentation. It is as well as the programmer as well as for the user. Next, implement this application. Next, we have to maintain the program. Maintain is nothing but we have to keep updating our software as per the user's requirement. And see, this is a life cycle of problem solving over computers or computerized problem solving. Students, in this session, we have discussed about the for construct, then our qualities of a good program and life cycle of problem solving over computers. Thank you very much.